as deranged.
Hello, welcome back to another commentary video. I read these articles on this website and I just kind of make comments on the way, basically. So we'll get right into it. I believe the last article I read was number 4 on this list. So we'll just go on to number 5. Alright. The truth behind Santa. There are many stories of Santa. Which one is real? Now, to be serious, we all know that the story of Santa was made up to get children to behave. Well, that's not exactly true. That is one factor of um that of why people take Santa into matters of importance, but that is actually not the case. Santa is actually a form of Saint Nicholas, and there's actually a true story behind it. I have no idea how the whole North Pole red coat stuff, deer stuff, which actually I'll get to that in a minute, like flying deer, I'll get to that in a minute. That's an important part of this. But I have no idea how, like the getting children to behave, that is just some other thing that got added on to it later on. Unless some retard believes in Santa is an exception. Santa is French for saint. Where did Claus come from? The answer would be plain obvious to me, because Claus is just a form of Nicholas. As we see now, we could place together the points of Saint and Nicholas. Of course, Saint Nicholas. So yes, it's basically just summarizing here that Santa Claus comes from the original story of Saint Nicholas, which is what I said before. It comes from Saint Nicholas, which is a true story, I believe. The story starts with a man named Nicholas Myra. He was blessed with much money because he inherited it from his relatives. He came one day and found some commotion in the window of a house. The trouble was that a young woman wanted to become married to a man, but her father did not have the money to do the marriage. When St. Nicholas heard the sad thing, he came up with an idea to make the dream of those youths come true. That very night, St. Nicholas brought himself up to the roof and let his inherited money plummet in. So yeah, that's where the whole thing of giving presents come from. Where St. Nicholas gave the money to these people. As a result of this, the couple were able to get married and started a family. But why give you an account of this? Who in grinning deer wants this? That's a good phrase there. I have given you a real story about a real person, but there are sightings of Santa. But is this really Santa? Most people have just seen deer. Why is that? Well, let me tell you. When grinning deer travel, they have a type of appearance to elude your mind into thinking that they are people you have just conversed with lately, or people you have been thinking of. When people say they have seen Santa, they are halfway telling the truth. They have seen Santa, but what they saw in reality was a grinning deer. So, yeah. This whole thing, what's saying here about that grinning deer can elude you, can like trick your mind. There is also another reason for why these grinning deer appear as Santa. It's called shapeshifting. Shapeshifting is a phenomenon where animals that are possessed by demons shift into different forms. So in this case, a grinning deer would shift into not only Santa Claus per se, but it could be other things like a dog. There have been many accounts of that. But yeah, basically everything he's saying here is true. The original story he told of Saint Nicholas, that is, it's a very interesting story, and all of you should keep in mind that that's how this whole Santa Claus thing came into existence. Don't just like believe in the oh ho 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 Merry Christmas stuff. I don't know where the ho 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 thing came from. I don't know if it's just like an English laugh type of thing, but in any case, yes, there are many things, many fictional things that have been added on to the St. Nicholas story until you get what you have today, which is just, all the, yeah, you know what I mean. But, moving on. Now we come to one common conclusion. What do we do? I do not see how you have come to that conclusion. But okay. First, do what first comes to mind. Run. If you haven't legs, which is possible with physically retarded, remember your Cairo. These are dangerous creatures and they ought to be stopped. Goodbye, and let a fate have a fine toll on you. Now, yes, it is important to run away from grinning deer, but another thing that is important is don't look at the grinning deer in the eye. That is the most dangerous part about grinning deer, okay? So yes, don't look, definitely run, by all means, run. You want to get away from those creatures as quickly as possible, but also keep in mind, don't look them in the eye. And yeah, so that is all this article has to say. It was rather short. Um, so yeah, this has been an account of basically the origin of Santa, how that correlates to green deer. And actually, I'm not done yet because I'm going to get into this kind of subsection of the history of Santa, which is his flying reindeer. Now, how would somebody um just merge the topic of flying reindeer in with Santa Claus? I mean, think about it. You can easily apply this to grinning deer because well, think about it. What do you think happened? There's probably some guy probably saw a bunch of deer and Santa. Now, this is the scenario. All those deer that were flying were grinning deer. They were flying because grinning deer trick your mind, and obviously they can do stuff that's supernatural. And the other thing that they saw, which was Santa, not actually Santa, it was a grinning deer that was shapeshifted into Santa, probably to grinning deer will try to trick lots of people, and they have. They have tricked people into believing that Santa has a sleigh with 8 reindeer. When in reality, the original story was just somebody saw a flock of 9 grinning deer, a herd of 9 grinning deer, and 8 of them were flying about, trying to scare the person, and the other one is shapeshifted into Santa. And then that person he went ahead and made up the story of Santa. He flies all around the world with his reindeer to give presents, and that's how he does it. But yes, so yes, having explained the flying reindeer stuff, I hope that this commentary on this article has been very informative. And if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments section below. But be sure to like and subscribe to this channel. And yes, until next time.